Hello everyone, thank you for joining me for this video. So in this video I'm going to be doing my August Q&A. Welcome to August. I accidentally didn't make a Q&A for July. I just never had time and stuff like that, but I'm not going to go into that. I'm just going to go ahead and get started, and I just took a shower so my hair is still wet. I'm aware that my hair looks wet. Okay, so I'm going to answer questions that you guys sent me, so this might take a little while to get through all of them. First question that I see is from @Wales. It's expensive and not common to be vegan where I live. Should I still make an attempt or should I stay vegetarian? I think you should definitely make an attempt just to see if it's actually as hard as you think it is, because a lot of times people build these things up in their head as the hardest thing ever, oh my god, how could you be a vegan? And then in actuality it's really not that difficult. So just do whatever you're comfortable with, but if you want to be a vegan, then you should definitely at least try it. It kind of is like a be the change you wish to see in the world scenario, and your eating habits matter. And so, the more people who will take a stand and eat a vegan diet, the more, food companies will respond to that and start making more vegan food, start making vegan food more easily accessible to people. If you want it to be more common where you live, it starts with you, so you could pioneer that even if it might be difficult. It just depends on how passionate you are about it, I guess. Next question is from @BipolarBarbie. So sorry if you answered this and I missed it. How do you talk to people in real life about your illness? I don't really talk to them about it, unless they ask about it. Then I might say one or two things, but I don't feel the need to let everyone know about it because I don't think it's anyone's business, and I don't think it's important for them to know about it. So I don't really talk to people in real life about my illness. And then when I do, I really just do it how I do it on my videos, which is just really blunt. It's not a big deal to me. I noticed that your handle is Bipolar Barbie. I don't really like how some people will think that they are their illness and their illness defines who they are. I mean, maybe you have bipolar in your Twitter handle because you talk about bipolar topics on your Twitter account, but I don't like people who in their everyday life associate with being the bipolar person. Hi everybody, I'm the bipolar girl. Would you like to know about me and all of my issues? I mean, I'm not trying to patronize you, I'm just talking about in my situation. I don't like just being all about my illness. That's why I don't try and make my channel all about my illness, so I don't kind of equate me as being a bipolar person. I'm me, and I just happen to have been diagnosed, and have had, and I've dealt with symptoms in the past and stuff like that, and, I take medication for it or whatever, but I'm not bipolar Sammy or the bipolar girl, or, I don't really associate myself with it beyond a simple diagnosis, oh, I have, hypothyroidism, or, oh, I have high blood pressure, or, no one is I'm the high blood pressure man, or I'm the had a heart attack girl, or I'm the divorced woman. People don't normally take these things that they're afflicted with or something like that and identify with it, and it doesn't make up their entire identity or something like that. I'm going off on a tangent here. So I don't really talk to people about it, and when I do, it's just a few brief things about it, anything that they need to know, but I don't feel like it's necessary for them to know everything about it unless it is necessary, unless they're actually my doctor or something. So, I'll talk to my therapist about it or my doctor about it, but other than that, and then maybe, your partner or other people that you're close with, but other than that, no one really needs to know about it unless they ask and, they're interested in it. You could tell them what they want to know, but you don't really need to feel pressure to let the world know, And I'm not saying you should hide it or anything like that or be ashamed of it, but there's not really any reason to actually feel pressured to talk to people about it. or anything like that. So, and if you do like want people to know and you're afraid of people knowing or stuff like that, then that's just some sort of insecurity or something like that. I'm not really insecure about it. I don't know why. It seems to be something that people are ashamed of or something like that. But I mean, it's just kind of it is what it is type of thing. It's just a fact. And, I'm not all about pretending to be someone I'm not or trying to make people believe that I'm someone I'm not. But, no one's asking you to totally be an open book for other people either. So anyways, I'm going off on a tangent. I'm going to go to the next question. From the same person, do people, employers, colleagues know about /find/ask about your channel? How do you respond and what responses do you get in return? I've never had anyone in real life ask about my channel, I don't think. I always wonder if my colleagues or employers, or I always wonder, like, have they seen my videos? And then people on the street sometimes I'll be like they kind of look at me like in a certain way, and I'm like, do they know who have they seen my videos? I always wonder if people have seen my videos or something, but no one actually confronts me about it. And the only one who has talked to me about it was my current psychiatrist. I told him about it in our first meeting, and then he wanted to know my username and stuff like that, and I didn't tell him. And he was like, oh, that's healthy to have those boundaries. Then the next time I saw him, he told me that he had looked at them, so obviously he was incredibly curious about it. So, but he's the only one who I don't actually know very well, who I know of that's seen my videos. I mean, maybe they have seen my videos, but they've never talked to me about it at all, like never brought it up. I'm hoping that they haven't. Like, I don't really like the whole getting noticed thing. But if you have seen my videos, please tell me, because I don't want people to have like this secret that, oh, I've seen your videos, but I'm not going to say anything. So if you have seen my videos and you talk to me in real life, please tell me, and not just have it be your little secret that you've seen my videos or something like that. I would like to know if you have, so that I'm not just in the world with people giving me weird looks and knowing about me from my videos and me not knowing that they know about me. So I raised the camera up a little bit because I felt like I was having to slouch to fit in the frame. So if the camera changed, that's why. So the next question is from John. Do you have a fetish / crawl for a particular culture or country? Where would you most like to visit and why? I don't really have a fetish for a particular culture or country. I like British accents. Maybe that's a fetish, I don't know. I like accents in general, except for country accents, like redneck accents. It's the only accent I don't like. Where would I most like to visit? I would really like to visit Hawaii and Tahiti. Probably like, I want to visit like Paradise Islands, just because I really like the feeling of having gorgeous surroundings that are of a tropical nature. So yeah, I just like being like gorgeous, like with water, like the ocean is like crystal clear and blue and aquamarine and gorgeous. So yeah, I like the idea of visiting like Paradise Islands. I don't know. And I have visited some before, but I'd really like to go to like the South Pacific. Alright, next question. Do you still take pills? Yes, I still take Lamictal and Ativan when I need it. It's very helpful. Next, that's from Alberto. The next one is from Dallin. What is the deepest truth you have discovered? I've discovered a lot of deep truths recently. Not recently, but in the past like 5 years or so. I guess one thing is that everything happens for a reason, and I know people throw that around and stuff like that, and some people even get really annoyed when people say that. But I had a small time in my life where like something really bad would happen, but then like then something after that would reveal how the bad thing that happened was actually a good thing, or maybe it wasn't a good thing, but that it happened for a good reason. Like, in other words, it should have happened. Basically, everything that happens is what's supposed to happen, I guess. I guess that's one of the deepest truths I've discovered, is that everything that happens, positive or negative, is for some other reason. It's happening for a reason. You might not know what it is yet. You might find it out, you might not find it out, but it seems like there's a reason for everything, and it's all working towards good in the end, or whatever. It's all, but not, it's not, I'm not gonna say like, it's benevolent, what's happening. So even if something like really awful happens at a certain point, it'll all turn out to have happened for a reason, or it had to have happened like that in order for the correct thing to happen. And also accepting things that happen, so and accepting that you're not in control. I think a lot of people are pressured to be in control of their lives and in control of their destiny and stuff like that, but I think another one of the deepest truths that I've discovered is that we're not in control, and if you do think that you're in control of the world or your life, then you're wrong, I guess. You're deluded. You're not looking at the actual facts of the situation. As it turns out, we're not in control, and trying to be in control is just going to lead to suffering, or not suffering, but frustration and stuff like that. I don't know. You're not gonna win, I guess. So I think accepting that you're not in control, I don't know, the idea that you're not in control is a truth, or the truth that you're not in control, what am I trying to say? Yeah, you're not in control, so that's a deep truth. You're not in control of what happens to you, of what happens to other people, of what happens in general. You're not in control, just let go, because you're not in control of your destiny, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Considering that you live in Georgia, what's your opinion on life in the South? I live in South Carolina, and I would love to know your opinion. I think living in the South is great. It depends on where you live. There are good things and bad things. So I've lived in probably the best cities in Georgia. I've lived in Athens and Savannah, and now I live in Atlanta. So I think those are probably the best cities in Georgia. I don't know, maybe there's another one I'm not aware of that's really good too. But so it just depends on where you live. When I lived in Savannah, I drove to South Carolina because I was going to a spring to collect spring water, because that was like a hobby I had for a little while. I would drive to natural springs and collect spring water. It's really fun. I drove to South Carolina, and no offense, but that is the most ghetto state. I didn't go to like anywhere nice in South Carolina, so I'm sure there's nice places in South Carolina, like Charleston, I guess, but I went through like the shittiest part, and there were potholes all on the road, and there were I just don't want to go into it, but the road was littered with potholes, and there's no civilization. It was just like these really ghetto towns and these scary gas stations. I like living in the South. I love Georgia. I think it's gorgeous here. It just depends on where you are. Like, I don't think out in the sticks is very nice, but Athens is cool, and Savannah's really pretty, and Atlanta's really pretty, so it just depends on where you live. I feel like people who are from like more idealistic places come to the South and they're like scared or something like that. It's really hot in the summer. I don't know. It's really humid. I don't know. I love it in Georgia. I think it's gorgeous, and it's where I've lived my whole life, so it has a very like my childhood feel to it. You know, I feel like I'm constantly living in my childhood home, I guess, by living in Georgia. So I don't know. I really like Georgia. I think people here are very down to earth and chill, very relaxed, and you know, I've gone to other places where people were not as chill and relaxed. Like in New York, people are really pushy. Then I've also been to the Northwest. People are very pretentious and think that they're better than everyone else. So yeah. Anyways, so I like the South. I didn't like South Carolina when I went there, but I haven't gone to like Charleston or anything like that. But I like Georgia. I like Florida. I don't like their politics or their economic situation or whatever, or some of the people in Florida, but it's gorgeous there. It's really sunny and beautiful. So the next one's from Danielle. What was your family's reaction to your diagnosis of being bipolar? I think everyone had a different reaction. My dad was like in denial, and is like in total denial of any psychological illness whatsoever. I don't know if he still is like this, but before he just didn't believe in psychology and thinks it's all made up and all this stuff. Like, I think a lot of baby boomers believe that it's just, your brain is weak, or you're not busy enough, or you're not disciplined enough, or whatever. Kind of doesn't believe in psychology, or doesn't think it's a science, or I don't even know. I don't know if he still thinks like that, but my dad was pretty much in denial. My mom was pretty much in denial too. They just see me as their perfect little daughter, or weird daughter. I don't even know. I don't really know what their actual thoughts on the matter are. I mean, basically pretty understanding, not judgmental. They didn't treat me any differently afterwards. Things are pretty much exactly the same as they were. My sister, it made her sad. My grandmother, she wasn't surprised at all, because one of her daughters is bipolar, and then her daughter is bipolar. So I guess she wasn't surprised, because she knows that it runs in the family. And then one of my cousins, he didn't believe that I had bipolar. He was like, no, you don't. And I was like, yeah, I do. I don't know. It's just because my bipolar and my cousin's bipolar is completely different. We have very different personalities. And so I think my whole family thought that like her personality was what bipolar was. And so I think a lot of people think that like if they know someone who is bipolar, they think that that person's personality is what bipolar is, when in fact bipolar is a certain set of symptoms, and then it just mixes with whatever a certain person's personality is. So it's not like there's one personality, which is the bipolar personality. Everyone has their own personality, and then you can tack on bipolar to that, and it just provides different symptoms. I keep going off on like really weird tangents, but yeah, that's pretty much all of that. So next question is from Gary. Have you been any crazy intense stories? What's the most bipolar thing that's happened to you this last year? I've been fine. Any crazy intense stories? I guess the most crazy one is that my boyfriend's best friend died of a heroin overdose. It was actually when we were moving here. He was helping me move. He was gonna go spend time with his friend, and he went over to his friend's house while I finished packing, and then I got a phone call the next morning with my boyfriend saying that blank had died. I'm not going to say his name out of respect for people's privacy, but, he's like, blank is dead. And, for a split second I thought he was joking, but then the next second I was like, there's no way he would say that, if it wasn't true. So then it was just like, wow, I can't believe that. So basically he woke up, and my boyfriend didn't do heroin that night or anything like that. He was just with him when his friend did it, and his friend was a heroin addict and just happened to overdose when my boyfriend was spending the night with him. So my boyfriend found him covered in a pool of his own vomit, hunched over very awkwardly, and cold as ice. So it was just really sad and crazy. Basically straight out of any type of movie that you've seen where someone overdosed on heroin. So yeah, and he was 27 years old. So it's really sad. Anyway, so that was crazy and awful and sad. But what's the most bipolar thing that's happened to me? I guess the most bipolar thing was me considering not taking medication anymore, but then I decided it would be better to keep taking it. Nothing really bipolar has happened to me this year, I don't think. Just because I'm on medication, so I don't really have a lot of symptoms. Okay, next one's from Lorinda. If you could go back in time and relive one moment in history, what would it be and why? If I could live one moment in history, I guess it would be like something having to do with the Beatles. I don't know, the only thing I can think of is like being able to see like the Beatles or Bob Dylan or something when they were like in their prime and stuff like that. Maybe just be around in the early 60s. I don't know. Alright, so the next question is, from Vincent. Do you like raspberry, spaghetti, or salad more? I like salad is number 1, raspberry is number 2, and spaghetti is number 3. Next one's from Alex. What does your name mean? I think the name Samantha means listener of God. American meaning of the name Samantha is listener. Hebrew meaning is name of God. What do you think is the purpose of life? I think the meaning of life is discovery, making discoveries, making new discoveries, whether it's yourself or as a society. This is a question someone asked me on Tumblr a little while ago, and I plan to answer it in this video. This is from Gator Sprites. I'm a subscriber on your YouTube channel, and I was curious, what's the hardest thing to face as being a YouTuber at your status? For example, what the community reacts to you, process in making videos, etc. Personally, when I get lost on what to post on my channel. I would say the degrading comments that kind of chisel away at my, I'm not going to say sanity, but chisel away at my sanity. I don't know. Not sanity is not the word I'm looking for, but they just, the ones that just give me a bad day. Like, if I read a comment and it, makes my day worse because I read that comment, or just a comment that especially annoyed me or something like that. Sometimes I have to take a break from reading comments at all. I mean, I know some people are just crappy people, but then I know a lot of other people just don't think before they comment. So, some people are trolls and whatever, you can't do anything about that. So there's a lot of those types of comments, and then there's a lot of people who just don't think before they write things, and then there's a lot of people who just misunderstand what I said, or don't listen to everything I said, and so it's just like, oh, I just said this, and then you're gonna say that, and it's just like, did you not listen to everything I said? I don't know, just people misunderstanding what I'm saying, or, just misunderstanding, misreading it, misinterpreting what I'm saying, and having a comment about it that they totally believe is intelligent, and then they, judge me off of what I say. So just like feeling like people just have like knee-jerk reactions to every single little thing I say, and don't realize that I'm just sitting in my room on a normal day like any other, talking to, a piece of metal at a, finite point in my life, and they don't realize that, like, I don't necessarily plan out everything I say really well, and my mind might change all the time, so like things I've said in past videos I might totally disagree with now. So just people taking everything I say like super seriously, people like getting up in arms about things that I say, or anything like that, or just saying mean things or ignorant things, or just degrading things. I don't know. And then another thing is the process of making videos, having to edit it, because people, when I first started, gave me a really hard time about saying a lot. So, I try not to say as much, but I'm pretty sure I still say it, or I know I still say it, so that when I go back to edit, I have to spend a long time editing out every time I say and then people will complain that my videos are too choppy, and then it's just like, or the editing is weird on it, and it's just like, well, people don't like it when I say so I have to edit out every single and then it makes editing take forever, and 2, makes the editing really choppy, so it's like I can't win because I don't talk perfectly eloquently. So that's the challenge, is like not speaking super eloquently, and that's what people expect when you're making a video and putting it on the internet. People expect you to speak very eloquently and never make any mistakes. And also, it got very tedious editing. Like, when I first learned how to edit, I was so excited and editing was really fun. But then once that initial excitement of figuring out how to edit wore off, now it's just like editing is really tedious, and it's work. It's definitely work to make YouTube videos, and it's work to edit them, and it's work to film them, it's work to, attempt to make myself look presentable and stuff like that, and not, knowing what I look like and trying to make time to make videos. Honestly, people don't give YouTubers enough credit, and I felt really pressured to have videos that were as high of a quality, picture quality as other people. So I bought a really nice camera and, spent money on a nicer lens and the kit lens, and then I spent money on a nice light, and then the problem with that is that I don't know anything about lighting, and I don't know anything about this camera, and you know, I bought a microphone, so you know, also like feeling like I have to keep up with other YouTubers, so spending money on this camera and stuff like that, and then it never being in focus because I don't have anyone to help me at all, you know, like maybe that's why other YouTubers have it better, because they have people at least helping them a little bit, like making sure that their camera is in focus and stuff like that. So, you know, it just annoys me so much when I go to edit a video and it is completely not in focus at all. What I do is I like put something right here and then I focus the lens on that thing, but then sometimes I'll sit here and I won't be in focus. It's really hard technically, and as far as the reaction that people give me sometimes. So yeah, I don't think people give YouTubers enough credit. You know, reading people's comments can be draining because it is hard to not take things personally sometimes, or not, you know, let things affect you at all. It's just also hard making them. Okay, I'm going to do 2 more questions. So the next one's kind of similar to that one. It's from Eternal Wings. It said, I'm really curious, how do you ultimately feel about being an icon and role model on social media, particularly YouTube, for those with mental illness? Do you think the views and recognition have changed or affected you in any way? If so, how? Okay, for the last question, if I think it's affected me in any way, you know, I really don't think it has, honestly, because I'll go like days where I completely forget that I even have a YouTube channel. So I don't think it's affected me at all. Like, I'll go days where I forget that I have a YouTube channel, that I forget, you know, anything about the internet. Not anything about the internet, but I'll forget, you know, about my social media presence. Like, it won't be on my mind at all. I think if I started to get noticed in real life, that might affect me. You know, if people like would come up to me in real life or something like that, or if there was some like tangible fame or recognition or something like that, like, you know, if I went out in public and people recognized me, or if I was like on the red carpet and people were taking pictures, I think maybe that affects people. Or like if I was like a musician and people would be like yelling my name or something like that while I'm on stage, I think that affects people, like maybe gives them a bigger ego or something like that. But I'm so like cut off from other people that I don't really feel it. I don't feel myself as being recognized, you know? So I don't think it's really affected me in any way. How do I feel about being an icon and role model? I don't know. I don't feel like I am a role model. We all have some self-loathing just from, you know, being so used to yourself that you don't recognize your own idealistic parts of you. You see these things in other people and then you want to emulate that. I think it's kind of a cool concept to think that like I'm affecting people in any sort of way like that. That's about as far as that goes, to thinking that, oh, that'd be cool. But then it also makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable because then I'm like, no, don't. I'm not a very good role model. In theory, it's like awesome. Like, who wouldn't want to be like a icon or like a voice of a generation or something like that? I don't really consider myself one of those things, but I feel like it's kind of a cool thing if you are that sort of thing. The last question. How effective do you think extended hospital stays can be for treating mental illness? My mother is currently in hospital for depression for the 3rd time, although I also find myself worrying about whether it's having a positive or negative effect on her. I know that you went to hospital for different reasons, but I was just wondering if you had any thoughts. Well, actually, the first time I went to the hospital, it was because they thought that I was going to kill myself. So it was for depression, basically. I would not worry about it having a negative effect on her, you know, because their job is to help. There's going to be someone in that hospital whose job it is to help your mother. Maybe back in the early 1900s, you would worry about mental hospitals having a negative effect or something like that. In my personal opinion, it's better to get treatment, even if it is painful to get treatment. Anyways, when I went to the hospital for depression, it was terrible, but when I got out, I was so much more appreciative of my freedom in life. I was so thankful for and appreciative of life. So I was like so much more I had so much more gratitude for life, so I appreciated life a lot more, and so that helped me. So, I don't know, when she's in the hospital, she should be going to like group therapy sessions, so, and like lectures and stuff like that. So I don't know where you live or what the hospitals are like where you lived, but when I went, it was a good experience, even if unpleasant, because I didn't want to be there, no one wants to be there, whatever, you know, but they do give group therapy and lectures that are geared to help people and designed to help people. So, you know, I think your mom should stay in the hospital or keep going to the hospital until she gets the help that she needs. Sometimes doctors will make illnesses worse. I'll concede to that. You know, like sometimes they'll just, you have a gallbladder issue and they're just like, oh, let's take out that whole gallbladder, and then you start having other medical issues because you don't have a gallbladder. But I think it's kind of different in this situation. I think if your mom has depression, she needs to find a medication that works for her. Sometimes the best way to do that is to go to the hospital and have them monitor you for 3 days to see how you react on a certain medication. So, you know, I wish you guys luck. I think that extended hospital stays are effective. I mean, it was effective for me, so at least this is one example of it being effective, and from what I saw, it was effective for other people too. From what I saw, there were people leaving there who were a lot better. They were in a lot better state than when they came in. I think it's better than not going at all. You know, eventually she'll figure out something that works for her. Alright, so that is all for this video. I think I answered maybe everyone's question, mostly everyone's question. Alright, so now I just want to give a shout out to my patrons. My patrons are the people who support my channel, and by support my channel, I mean make it so that I can keep doing YouTube videos, because if I didn't have the support of you guys, I would be very close to quitting YouTube. These are the people who really keep me going. Also, all of you, you know, who watch my videos and leave very encouraging comments. So thank you to the people who leave me encouraging comments, and also thank you to my patrons. If you would like to be a patron and donate to keep me going on YouTube, then you can go to patreon.com/rawsammy. I want to give a shout out to my patrons who have donated $10 or more this month. So give a shout out to David, Casey, Leonard, the X-Packs, Jared, Patrick, Lewis, Tyler, and John. And if you donate $5 or more, I will list your name at the end of my videos. And you can also donate $1, and then you can have access to my patrons only feed, and you also get to see my videos before everyone else. So I always post my videos on my Patreon feed before I post them on YouTube, or before I make them public on YouTube. So if you want to be the first one to see my videos, be the first commenter and stuff like that, or you would just like to help support me in making videos and keeping me going on YouTube, then please consider becoming a patron. It really, really does help me so much, just in general, and also for, you know, buying things for my channel, so like my camera and microphone and stuff like that. So that's it. I hope everyone had a really, really awesome month of July, and I hope everyone has a really good month of August. Summer went by really fast, I guess, but we still have another month. So anyways, I hope you guys have a really awesome day, and I will see you in the next video. Okay, bye! In this video, I'm going to be opening this box. It's from Vegan Cuts, and if you don't know, Vegan Cuts is a subscription box service where you get vegan snacks and or beauty products delivered to your door every month.